You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K25. The NBA season, after a very long off season, is finally here. So we've got the band back together. Myself, Mooncey, alongside me, Mr. BJ Armstrong as always, and the one and only GM extraordinaire, Mr. Scott Perry. Welcome back to the show, my brother. How you guys doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. It's great to see you guys. And Mo, I must comment right off the rip. You hold that note a little longer now. The vibes. When you say you know the vibes, I'm sensing you can hold it a little longer. You're getting a little bit better. You can hold that. You holding that note like they would say back in Motown.
I'm seeing everyone in the music industry go in jail, so I'm just getting sure my voice is ready in case they need a new superstar to be on top of the charts. So
Play nice, Mo. Play nice.
Play nice. Well, let's start the show by congratulating the New York Liberty on becoming WNBA champions. Very, very good win for them. Shout out to the referees as well, who helped them a little bit along the way. But shout out to the Liberty, man. That was an exciting series to watch. But the NBA is back, and I wanted to do this on the show a while back, but I thought we got to wait until we get our GM in the house, and we're going to have a look at the GM survey for some of the predictions before the season tips off on Tuesday night. And the Boston Celtics raised their 18th banner in the TD Garden.
How many is more? I don't know. How many?
Just 18.
Oh, okay.
That's
18. The rest of the league, you guys need to catch up. That's number 18. And guess what? 19's coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go straight into it.
Is that a prediction?
Well. The first question.
Is that a prediction?
Which team will win the 2025 NBA Finals? Mr. Scott Perry, who you got?
Putting the pressure on right off the bat.
You know how
we haven't had a back-to-back champion. I know over the last 6 years there's been 6 different champions.
Yeah, since Golden State.
Since Golden State, yes. But that streak ends. Mo, I'm putting the pressure right back on you. We're going to the TD Garden. We're going to Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm going with the Boston Celtics.
Okay, BJ, what about you?
I ditto. What can you say? They look like the best team. You can't say anything. You know, we haven't played, but I think there are some formidable opponents. In particular, OKC. What I've seen in preseason. This is just a preseason.
Right.
The Knicks look like they're all in. But if you're saying today, I have to agree with Mr. Scott Perry that your Boston Celtics are the team to beat for the 2025 championship.
Well, the GMs around the league, 83% of them think the Boston Celtics are going back to back. 13% think the OKC Thunder, and 3% believe in the Dallas Mavericks. And Mooncey believes, you know, BJ, I always try and do the reverse curse, but this year,
What's the reverse curse?
We going back to back.
Okay. So you embracing it. I love it. Okay, you embracing it now.
To back.
See, you got a championship in your pocket now. So now you're emboldened to step out on the limb no more.
I could talk with my chest out now. You know what I mean? Before I was a little bit nervous, but now I can talk much. You know. But let me ask you guys this: if you had to rank the top 8 teams in each conference just now, without seeing them play in the regular season, could we break down the Eastern Conference first, from first place to 8th place? Who you guys got?
Well, it's difficult to put a complete order for me, but
not the order they finish in, but the order that you like them to win the conference. Do you see what I'm saying?
To win the conference.
Yeah, I don't care about the regular season. I'm talking about give me the rankings of the top 8 teams in each conference.
Okay, I'm gonna, obviously we just anointed the Celtics as our prediction for the championship. So Boston's got to be 1 for me. I'm going to go Knicks too. I'm going to go Knicks too. As long as they can stay healthy, get Mitchell Robinson back in January and stay healthy for the entire season. I think they've got good continuity. There's a lot of confidence there. It's their chance to step up. Number 3, I'm going to Milwaukee Bucks. I just think, this has got to be the year for them to try to ascend. I am still a little bit worried about them athletically, but I do like the additions they made in getting Gary Trent Jr., as well as the kid that they just got from LA.
Taurean Prince.
Taurean Prince, exactly. So I think that's going to help their depth a little bit this year, and I expect Giannis to bounce back and have a big time year. Um, I'm going to say Philadelphia. They scare me. The whole thing about Joel not playing back to backs. Paul George already had an injury scare in the preseason. When your top two players um, have been injury prone, especially over the last few years, that's scary a little bit to me. But again, I like young Tyrese Maxey. I think he continues to get better and better. And they also made some nice additions. I think Andre Drummond is going to help him as a backup center, to be honest with you, this year. Caleb Martin is going to help their wing depth as well. So I'll
That's
say
the top four. Top four.
that's the top four.
Yep.
And then I'm going to go, I think the Orlando Magic make a step up this year. I like their team, good young team. They defended, they got the feet wet in playoffs last year. I like the addition of Caldwell Pope. And I like, because they're young, they're going to have the energy to sustain an 82-game season, and I think they can make some hay during the regular season. Indiana Pacers, let me not disrespect them. Look, they were in the
Conference finalists.
Conference finals last year. I think they will be good again. Extremely well coached by Rick Carlisle. Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam, Andrew Nembhard. They got some nice pieces, and Ben Mathurin will be back this year, who I think they missed, especially during the playoffs. So he brings some toughness to that team. Cleveland would be, obviously another team. You got two really good guards and Garland and Mitchell. They're on the smaller side, but again, in the regular season, I think those two guys can really get it going. They've got a new coach. Will take them a little time to get adjusted there, but Evan Mobley, I anticipate him taking a step forward, so I believe Cleveland is going to be good. And then that eighth seed, I never can count out my Miami Heat. Look, the Miami Heat
Can't count them out, but they're in last place.
Yeah. But extremely well coached. They're going to be tough. They always play true to their identity. And they will be a team that, it's tough to beat on a nightly basis. So those are my 8 teams in the Eastern Conference.
BJ, how's your list looking?
Well, as I was listening to Scott's list, I wanted to put someone else in there, but I'm going to start off with 8th. The Heat are going to be there. I don't know how they're going to be there. So really, I'm only going to name 7 teams here. Okay,
so you're putting the Heat 8th as well.
Well, they're going to be in. I don't know how they're going to be in. I don't know why they're going to be in.
Jimmy Butler contract year, they will be there.
Yeah, but the Heat will be in there. So let's just say the Heat. So here are my 7 teams. You have the Celtics.
Yep.
1. Okay, that's 1. 2, we're going to go. I'm going Knicks at 2.
Yep.
This year. I'm going Knicks 2. 3, I'm just going to say youth is going to win. I'm going to go to Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
Okay.
4, I'm going to put my Milwaukee Bucks. 5, I'm going to say the Cavaliers. I think it's time.
Mm-hmm.
6, the Magic. 7, just because of talent, but I think this season has the recipe to be a disaster for them because they're looking to manage and somehow manage and get through the regular season. And you can't do that. I mean, if it's one thing I've learned in the NBA all my time since I came into this league in the late 80s, the regular season must have value. You have to value the regular season. And Philadelphia, they have the talent. This isn't a talent issue.
No.
When you start going into and say, well, we're going to manage back-to-backs and we're going to do all of these things to get through the regular season just so we can get to the playoffs, I think that has the recipe for a disaster. Now, I'm going to pick them with the 7th seed just because at some point here, anyone who's won a championship will understand this. You must establish the consistency of your work effort every single day. win, lose, or draw. And when you don't know who's going to be available from night to night, how are you going to establish a rhythm to be able to compete night to night? Okay, Joel's going to be in some nights. He's not going to be out. Well, we'll just plug in Drummond. This isn't a video game, Mo. These are people, and these people have to play, and you got to figure out how
And
to
it's a
navigate
completely different style of play, playing with Andre Drummond versus playing with Embiid, where the offense
No
runs through
question.
Embiid and Andre Drummond's just there for rebounds. It's
Yes.
completely different. So it
Now-
throws off the rhythm of everyone else who's on the court.
Now, people will point back to the Toronto Raptors. Well, they did it. Okay, well, all right. That's one in.
Right.
There's always
An
always
anomaly.
there's always an anomaly. Okay.
Yep.
We don't live in the world of absolutes. However, I just think this is going to be very difficult for them to come into the season with that approach because they have a nice team. Their talent on paper looks great. However, you got to play. And so those are my 8 teams.
Okay. I'm going Celtics number 1, Knicks number 2. I'm going Bucks number 3 with a full season of consistency at the coaching position. I guess I'm going to go with the Bucks at 3, Cavs at 4, the Orlando Magic at 5, the Pacers at 6, the Heat at 7, and then I'll put the Sixers at 8. Because if we're talking about who's going to win, Embiid ain't even made it to a conference finals before. You telling me he's going to win the conference? Pff, good luck. But what about out west? Because that is a lot more difficult. I feel like we had very similar themes in the Eastern Conference. It's kind of the top 2 and the bottom 2 are kind of set, and then everyone else in the middle. But what about out west, Scott?
Can we take 11 teams?
No.
Yeah.
You have 8 teams to pick.
Can we take? Hey, boy, that one is really tough. But I'm going to start with OKC
To win the Western Conference.
Yes, I just look. What impressed me, about them last year, they go through the playoffs. You learn who you are even more when you go through playoff series, as BJ will attest to. And what did they do in the offseason? They went out and addressed their 2 glaring needs. They needed to add some size up front and physicality to the front line. They did that in getting Isaiah Hartenstein. I know he's out for the early part of the season, but he will help in that capacity, and I think it would be a big help playing alongside Chet Holmgren. And then they also got Alex Caruso in the trade to add some toughness and improve their depth, and he also can help with their ability to make 3-point shots in crucial situations. They play as a unit. They play as a team. I just like the culture. They're very well coached. So I'm going to go with them in the number 1 seed. Number 2 is going to be really close, but I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I like what they did with this trade in the offseason. I think they made the determination that, look, we got to the conference finals, and they probably, again, studying their roster and said, okay, we need to add a little more. That group that we had last year, maybe that was as far as they could go. You bring in Julius Randle. Hey, he's an all-star performer, different than what Karl Anthony Towns is, but I think a little more physical, a little rougher. And then the Dante DiVincenzo part of the deal really was huge to me. You get an excellent 3-point shooter, provides more toughness, and so now your depth is stronger. And then I believe Anthony Edwards will continue to ascend. Nas Reed, young player, continue to get better. So I like the group, Minnesota. I'm gonna go Dallas in the 3rd slot, adding Klay Thompson. Once those guys get a chance to really gain some chemistry, Luka, Kyrie, Derek Lively will improve up front. So I like the Dallas Mavericks. Now this is when the order gets jumbled to me, and I struggle trying to figure out the rest. But I'm gonna go with the Phoenix Suns, which may be a surprise to you guys.
That's not a surprise because all of last year you guys had them in the mix up until
the
playoffs came up.
Look, Kevin Durant is still a special player. Devin Booker, excellent as well. You've got a coach now, I think, that will definitely define roles, help them be better defensively, which I think they lacked last year, and adding Tyus Jones at the point guard position, taking that responsibility off of Devin Booker, off of Bradley Beal, I think it's going to be helpful to this team. So I'm going to put them there. Well, I can't, the MVP last year, the Joker, I'm going to go with Denver Nuggets. They didn't do a lot to improve their team, but as long as that guy's on the team and they got a really good starting five, got to have them in the mix. They've got a championship pedigree. So I'm going to go Denver Nuggets. Then Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant is back. I forget what place they finished last year. They probably were 12th or 13th in the conference. But that guy means that much to him. It's going to be really interesting to see, him and the young kid, Zach Edey, who is really going to be difficult to deal with on the interior. And so they're going to be able to play with some pace, and they're going to also be able to play a little bit in the half court. I think that Ja has a lot to prove. He's hungry to get back. So long as he stays healthy, I got him there. Who's looked well in the preseason, and I know it's preseason basketball, but their energy has been good thus far. They just know how to play the game together. And that's the Golden State Warriors. And so I'm gonna put them there in the mix. Steph Curry is still beating Father Time. No better shooter. Tremendous condition. I think Draymond is in a great place mentally. I think Jonathan Kuminga will continue to get better. The addition of Buddy Hield, although he's not Klay Thompson, but I think he's going to be very helpful because he can really shoot the ball. And over the last few years, he's been one of the top, the top 3-point shooter in the league in terms of, I think, threes made. So really like getting him. And then I really struggled with the 8th spot. Boy, I can make a case for Houston. I can make a case for BJ's guy, Victor Wembanyama, adding Chris Paul to the mix, that they make the jump. I haven't talked about the Lakers yet with LeBron and AD, but I'm concerned a little bit. Can AD play that full 82 games? If I knew he could be available like he was last year, what did he play? 74, 75 games. If I knew that, I would put the Lakers in there. But I'm not so sure with him having played, in the Olympics all off season and just the history of that. The New Orleans Pelicans, talented group. But I'm gonna sell it on the Houston Rockets. BJ made the point about youth being served with the team, Orlando Magic over in the Eastern Conference. I think Houston has that similar thing going here in this conference. They're very talented, very skilled. I think Ime Udoka does a really good job. They keep improving defensively. They're going to be able to score against a lot of people. They'll be able to match up with size and athleticism. So that's going to round out my first 8.
BJ, what about you?
Gentlemen, we have a thing that we like to say. I learned this from Mr. Scott Perry. There's the basketball business, and then there's the business of basketball. Now, with the 8th seed, I'm going to start backward. I'm going to go backwards.
Backwards again.
I'm going to
just have to be different.
Well, no, I don't have to be different. I have to make a business decision here.
Okay, I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, I know who's coming 8.
Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs will be in the playoffs.
Yes, exactly. Oh, they can still be in because 9 to 10 gets in.
This isn't the season. This is who you think will win.
Again, Victor Wembanyama will be in the playoffs this year. Now, I don't know who the other 7 teams will be because the West is really thick. But for the business of basketball, Victor Wembanyama will be in the playoffs. Okay. 6 and 7, you can flip the order. Steph Curry and Jokic will be in the playoffs.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So 6, 7, and 8, I'm not going to even worry about.
The
Okay.
visit, exactly. Right. Mhm.
Now, there's really only two decisions I had to make here: 4 and 5. Because if you don't get 4 and 5, you're not going to get in the playoffs.
Mhm.
Okay. I got to make a business decision. Ja
Mhm.
Morant has to be in the playoffs this year.
Has to be. Has to be. Has to be.
Okay.
Yeah, young
Kevin
star.
Durant has to be in the playoffs this year. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, 1, 2, and 3, I think that's already set. Based on what we've seen from a year ago, we have our OKC Thunder, who we all mentioned, the Wolves, okay, and then we have the Mavs.
Mm.
So I'm just making business decisions, right? If our good friend Shea Alexander, he's probably the front runner for the MVP. Well, he's got to do what he's got to do what he has to do. Okay. Anthony Edwards, who many are saying, he's ready to take a next step. Okay, he has to be there. And we know Luka is so I think these are just business decisions now at this point.
Well,
Now,
business.
those are my top 8.
Here's mine. OKC at 1. I got Dallas at 2. I got the Wolves at 3. I got the Grizzlies at 4. I got the Nuggets at 5. And then the 6, 7, 8. There's a lot of teams you could put in there. Like no one said
Yes.
New Orleans so far. I'm interested to see what
missing.
happens with them if Zion can stay healthy. But 6, 7, and 8, I've got the Phoenix Suns. I would not even had them in this list until they got Tyus Jones to run that point guard position for them. So I got the Phoenix Suns. 7. You will never believe that I'm about to say the LA Lakers. Because I just think you're talking about business decisions, BJ. Right now, there's still no bigger business in the NBA than LeBron James. There's still no bigger business than the LA Lakers.
Mo,
Business-wise.
I would believe you, but I know your reverse psychology. And I know what you're really doing. You love to put pressure on them, and then they don't do it. And
I'm
then
just
you have to
saying.
put-
I'm
No,
just saying.
no.
Is it-
Mo, ladies and
I'm just
gentlemen, I know
saying-
Mo. I know Mo.
No. So here's my logic, right? Here's my logic. Okay. You're a team and you need some help on your roster. You got first rounded last year. You've not looked good since the Disneyland bubble, and even before that, you didn't look really good ever since Kobe left. If you're going to go and use one of your draft picks on your star player's son just to keep him happy, that means you're pretty happy with the rest of the roster. And if you're going to hire a podcaster as your head coach, that means you're pretty happy with how you think he's going to coach. So I'm expecting them to be there. So I've got to have them on my list because they believe they're going to be there. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done those two things. So by their very own logic, I'm going to put the Lakers on the list. And at number 8, I'm going to put the Houston Rockets. And, I know I've not put Spurs and whatnot. I think they could very well make the playoffs, but I don't think they've got a chance of winning. The Lakers, if they've got Anthony Davis and LeBron healthy for 16 wins, then maybe they could do something. But that's that. If you want to know what the GMs picked, they have OKC at 1, Minnesota at 2, Denver at 3, Dallas at 4, Phoenix at 5, Memphis at 6, New Orleans at 7, and Golden State at 8. So that's the order the GMs around the league are looking.
So no Houston. No
Houston. They're not showing love to
So
Houston.
they
no love to
New Orleans of
Sacramento.
Houston.
No love to
Yeah,
Sacramento.
and that's another team we didn't even talk about. Is Sacramento.
Yeah, Sacramento. I thought about them, but I had to put Victor in there. But I really thought I think that's one of those games that's a dangerous game every time you play them because they can beat anybody in the league with their talent now.
But think about what we're saying here, guys. You got 12 teams in the Western Conference that could legitimately finish in the top 8.
Could be some shakeups next summer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on with this survey, who is going to win the MVP award this season? I think all three of us would have the same answer.
Well, I know last time I was on the show with you guys, I said Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
I'm on the same boat.
I think he set the table last year, got on the conscience of the public and the voters that he's here, what he's about, leading that team to the best record in the Western Conference last year, second round of the playoffs. So I think he's poised to take the next step. And
BJ, do you agree?
I know Shea Alexander, and I'm a huge fan. And I always try to. The fan in me wants Shea Alexander. I want Shea to win it. I do. Because I know how hard he works. I know him, his family. You know, we work very closely with Shea. So I'm rooting for Shea. However, there's a part of me that's saying Jason Tatum has something to prove this year. He's got something. He's got something to really prove this year. Okay. After everything, how it happened, after him winning the championship, what happened over the summer, how many times, gentlemen, have we seen a player take that energy, whatever happened in the offseason or an all-star game,
Oh yeah.
and you see what happens? I think the table is really set for him to have that type of year because I don't think, normally when you come back, you start feeling good about yourself or you have the potential to start feeling good about yourself. He doesn't have that coming into the season.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the season coming where everyone's patting him on the back. I think he has something where I think the whole Boston Celtics team has something to come back and improve. Not improve. They have something to prove to everyone else outside of their locker room. And that's a good thing.
I hear
So
it.
I'm going to say Jason
But
Tatum.
I think
It's an interesting thing though. I can't recall a time where a top player or players, in this case, both
First team all NBA players, Scott.
players, yeah. There were NBA champions. Now, obviously, this occurred because of the Olympic year, then goes to the Olympics. After all of that great feeling from finally getting over the hump, becoming a champion, then to go to the Olympics, yeah, they won the gold medal, but to have happened what happened to him, not even getting in a couple of those ball games, this is going to be a great case study to see. Because I agree with you, BJ. I think he really will be motivated, as will Jaylen Brown be motivated for being snubbed or being on the team outright in the first place.
But
So
you know what I think? I think there's two elements for this of why I don't think Tatum will win MVP. Number one, it's a media controlled award. And if you look at the quality of his team around him, they would rather give it to someone who has less help around them, help, so to speak, less high quality caliber teammates. But the other thing is, I don't think that Jason Tatum cares about the MVP the way that we care about Jason Tatum winning the MVP. As long as the Celtics are winning games, he's happy. Like from being around that team, they're focused on winning another championship. The individual awards, I don't know. But let me ask you guys this question. Who's a wild card for MVP? Because like the GMs have got 40% of them think Shea's going to win, 30% think Luka, and then Embiid, Jokic, and Tatum get 7% of the vote each. Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Anthony Edwards also received a couple of votes apiece. But have you got a wild card? Like last season, I said if Zion was healthy for the whole season, he could be an MVP conversation. Obviously, that didn't happen, and it was a ridiculous take. But have you got a wild card of someone that could come out of nowhere and win the MVP? Because I said earlier this year that Ja Morant could come back this season and maybe have throw his hat in the ring for MVP. Have you got a wild card?
he was that was as you were speaking. I that's what I was getting ready to say was Ja Morant coming off injury. If he can take his team that was in 12th place last year and finish in the top 4 in the Western Conference, that's a big achievement in itself, and it will be in large part due to his play. But I'll give you another name too, and I don't know that he is a wild card name, but you haven't mentioned him. He's not Doncic, he's not Jokic, he's not Shea, he's
Brunson?
No, Brunson. Now you're talking about being in New York. If he has the kind of year he had last year, he'll get some strong consideration. But if the Minnesota Timberwolves stay up at the top, and I think that just watching them a little bit early, Anthony Edwards, I'm gonna put him down there because I am partial to two-way players, man. And this guy,
no, don't get me started. I hate the term two-way player, right?
Why do you hate that term?
Why is it special to play defense? Like,
well,
everyone should be. If you're on the court, you should be a two-way player. Why do we live in a world where it's okay
we
to
do.
be an MVP and not play defense? I hate it. Like,
it's in my book. It's not okay. But look, that's the world we live in. What is being, what we see that's being rewarded is offense. The guys with the gaudy offensive numbers usually are your first team all NBA guys, and the guys being most considered for MVP.
BJ, have you got a wild card?
But Anthony Edwards, he's great offensively. and he takes the challenge of wanting to guard the other team's best players on the perimeter. So
I want to know if BJ is going all in with his wild card being Wembanyama, or if he's going to wait another year.
that's that BJ. You didn't have to ask BJ that.
First things first, gentlemen. You know, I think we all Mo heard me go, Scott. I went on for a week why Wembanyama wasn't an All-Star last year, right?
Why he wasn't?
A week.
Why he
You
wasn't?
still talking about that? You called me and talk about that in bloody October.
I when he wasn't named an All-Star last year, I was because I thought that was, you know, Mo. Scott knows, Mo knows, the audience, you know, who roll with us, they understand. You know, you got to protect the business. Wembanyama has to be in there. However, I'm not ready to put him in that because this year he has to get Defensive Player of the Year. Okay. We're going to make sure. Playoffs and Defensive Player of the Year. Now we're ready to roll. Now, but next year and for the next 10 years, Mo, don't even ask me who's going to win the MVP. It's going to be Wembanyama. So we can clear that up. Okay. All right. Okay. But I agree with the list as is in the beginning of the season. I think Jason Tatum. I'm rooting for Shea Alexander because he's put together 2 incredible seasons that could have been MVP. And I think Luka will be there. I think Luka, what he did last year, I think he has some momentum coming into the season. But you said wild card. And I'm sticking with my business theme today on today's show. Okay, this is a wild card. Roll with me. De'Aaron Fox has some business to take care of.
We just went through the top 18.
You said wild card. You said wow.
Okay.
That means
you
said wild card. You didn't say. You didn't say. You said wild card. Now I happen to really, really like this team. De'Aaron Fox got some unfinished business he needs to take care of this year. And De'Aaron Fox is a gamer. Now, I'm going to say this because I can only tell you what I see. De'Aaron Fox played exceptionally hard in the preseason. And I was like, I watched him one night versus the Utah Jazz. And I said, wow, this team is playing really hard in the preseason. You know, I was like, what's going on?
Shout out to Mike Brown.
Then they went on about a contract situation that he needs to do this year in order to be.
Yeah, he turned down the extension to wait for a bigger deal next summer.
Now,
and if he makes All NBA,
I'm just telling you what I saw. You know, you watching the game, and I'm just watching the game, and all of a sudden I saw a man playing in midseason 4, Scott, and I said, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" You know, and the whole team was present. Sabonis was present.
DeRozan was present.
And I said, what is going on? So I just started watching the game. And I said, when they said that, I said, I put that in the back of my mind. I was like, this team right here, they have something they need to do. That's a scary game because they didn't make the DeMar DeRozan situation to talk about rebuilding. Now, I didn't have them in the 8, but I'm telling you this right now. I will not be surprised if they are in the top 6.
Oh, no. Yeah, I agree.
I won't be surprised because I know this. They have 3 guys that I know can score in the last 4 minutes of a game. Sabonis, DeRozan, and De'Aaron Fox. And De'Aaron Fox is still one of the fastest players in the NBA. De'Aaron Fox will get you over 25 points a night. And if they do what they think they're going to do, which they have the capability to do it now. I mean, they still play fast. And no one's as fast as De'Aaron Fox. He's just as fast as anybody in this league. So he is my wild card to watch out that no one will be talking about. And Mo, he's got something to prove this year. Just like how you wove in Jimmy Butler, I'm going to weave in
contract years. Let's go.
No, De'Aaron Fox. Hey, I never bet on. When a man believes in himself, Scott, that's music to an agent's ear. To his agent's ears.
And let me tell you something. I'm pulling for De'Aaron. He obviously,
Yeah,
I
I'm
was there
pulling
when
for
we
him too.
drafted.
You drafted him.
I
Didn't you
drafted
draft
him.
him?
You drafted him. We
Yes.
drafted him. Yes, when I was
Yes.
there. So I'm been a De'Aaron Fox fan from the very beginning.
And I
And to
want to
watch
say
him
this.
grow.
I want to say this about Scott because I remember this conversation in the summer league of De'Aaron Fox's rookie year summer league. De'Aaron Fox wasn't going to play. You know, it doesn't matter who. He wasn't going to play in the summer league. And I remember the GM of the team, Mr. Scott Perry, had a little conversation with him and said, "Wait a minute, wait a minute."
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. De'Aaron Fox came in and showed out during that game. Now,
No, absolutely.
I said then something was in this young man that I need to respect. So I know what's there. I have an unfair advantage of knowing what's in this kid. He's a great kid with exceptional talent, and he has a chance this year to put up one of those type of numbers where the media will get on board. Because I don't think many people are going to have them, but he will be
Right.
leading the charge this year. So
Yeah.
he's my wild card.
No, but yeah, no, you definitely picked
He's
a
got to
wild
be in
card
one of the
there
top
because-
15. He's got to be in the top 15 this year for obvious
Yes.
reasons.
Yes, yes. No, that's for sure.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Let me ask you this: which player is most likely to have a breakout season this season?
A
I'm going Big
breakout
Victor.
season.
I'm going Big Victor.
No,
Anything
you
else, I'm
can't-
going on Big Victor.
You can't
So
be
I'm
the
gonna let
number
you
one
guys have
pick
this.
and rookie of the year and then have a breakout. We all know what
We all have
a breakout season is someone you don't expect to become great, who becomes great without people thinking they would before
Well,
the season.
say that. You said a breakout season. Breakout
That's what
season means you
breakout
gotta put up
means.
numbers. I'm expecting the big fella to give me. I'm expecting him to give me a game this year where we just got to talk about what he did. He's got to have a quadruple double. That's a breakout. You
Yes.
don't see that every day. That's
But we're
breakout.
expecting him to have it. So it's
Oh
no.
no, I'm not.
Look,
that,
We've been
well,
talking about that since he got drafted, or even before he got drafted. We were talking about this guy's going to come to the NBA and have a quadruple double. Like, come on. Breakout is unexpected, an unexpected rise. Like last year, Kobe White out of nowhere. You see what I'm saying?
I'm
How about,
expecting him
you
to
know,
get to the playoffs.
it's when you say out of nowhere, it's a tough question. I always struggle with that on that GM survey when you're talking about breakout season. But I'm gonna take a player who I believe is poised to take the next step. Because I listened to my man BJ here about a month or two ago when I was on this podcast, and I believe with the new coach coming in, in the way they're going to utilize him, he's going to be positioned to become an all-star this year. And if he does, their team could cause some problems in the Eastern Conference. And that's Evan Mobley.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he has a chance to become a more consistent offensive threat this year. That's the breakout part for him. He's always been, pretty good defensively linked. We've seen all the potential, but this may be the year for him to be that consistent stalwart. With age, I'm sure he's gotten a little bit stronger. I haven't seen him physically. BJ, you've seen him, over the summer. I don't know how much weight he's picked up, but breakout from being a guy who in that draft class had, good potential. A lot of people believed he might end up being the best player out of that draft class. But I think this year he ascends up and becomes an all-star.
No. If you can talk about Mobley, keep going. I've got a couple different names.
Mm-hmm. No, that was it. No, you were going to say something about Mobley? Yeah, that was Mobley he comes to mind for me.
So I got a couple names that were high draft picks as well, but because they've been on bad teams, I think people forget about them. BJ, you'll like the first one. I think Kay Cunningham this year, he's obviously had some injury issues to deal with before. I think this year he could remind everyone who he is.
Mo,
And then the other
you
one-
might be stepping into something, Mo.
The other one, Brandon Miller over in Charlotte. Because towards the end of last season, he showed some really great flashes. I think this season, he can really get going.
Ooh.
Well, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to leave it alone. We could talk about that off air, what Mo just said. Victor stands here for me. And there is another name that I have to throw out. I think Jalen Williams
OKC.
from OKC. Mm-hmm. Now, I think I might have called Scott. I think I might have called Mo or Scott. I know I said
right.
Jalen Williams.
We talked about this on the show a few weeks ago, or a few days ago.
Yeah. Now, Jalen Williams is ready. He's playing now like a top 15 player. He's playing like an all NBA player in the preseason. And when I start seeing people play like that in the preseason, I go, oh, something's going on here. You know, there's a lot of people pretending to put in the work and posting the videos and all that in the summertime. Well, Jalen Williams is ready. Okay. He's going to be ready this year. And they put the ball in his hands, and I think he's going to deliver. So those are the two young players, I think. And I agree with yours, Scott, with Evan Mobley. However, I will say this about Evan Mobley. I've said it before, and I will say this. Evan Mobley is a center. And I think the young man is poised to have a breakout year when they fully commit to playing him at the center position. Mm-hmm. I think that's where he's most comfortable, is he is a center, especially in today's game. But as you know, I'm a massive Evan Mobley fan. I remember talking about him in the draft like it was yesterday, and I still think he will be the best player in that draft.
And Mo, you know what fact is when you talk about breakout player, I need that breakout player to impact winning. Those two names you brought. Those two names, exactly. So that's only those guys have talent, but they're in situations I don't know they're going to be able to win. Exactly, yes, and so
we'll do a couple more of these questions. Who is the best head coach in the NBA?
Oh gosh!
If you were starting a franchise right now and you can hire someone to be a head coach and you can't hire each other, who are you hiring?
I'll start. And I was a proponent of his all last year. I think Eric Spoelstra, for me, I would put at the top of the list. He has shown the ability to do more with less. He's consistent. You know what you're going to get in terms on the defensive side of the ball. He makes very good in-game adjustments. I like his demeanor. You know, he holds guys accountable, yet gives them space to go ahead and play. So I'm going to lean in towards Eric Spoelstra, but there's other good ones that
yes,
as well. But
I agree with Scott. And the reason I love Eric Spoelstra because he exemplifies the essential element to me to be in the leadership position. He has the courage to do it. Now, he is confrontational when he needs to be. He encourages when he needs to be, and he stays with his guys. My other guy that I really love is Ime Udoka. Mm-hmm. Because he has the courage. You got to have courage to sit in that seat. Mm-hmm. You can't be you're either going to be the coach or you're going to be the friend. Mm-hmm. He's the coach. Make no doubt about it. Okay. And when need be, he will confront not only his own players, but he will confront the other players.
Yeah, he went to head to head with LeBron last season. he said you a
so and we keep, we give these terms, this is a players league. Okay, that's fine. That's all those things. However, you have to have courage when you're sitting in that seat. You have to have the courage to tell the truth. Because when the players figure out you don't really understand, or they make a conclusion that you don't know what you're talking about, you never get that back. So Eric Spoelstra, I agree with you. But Coach Udoka, and every time I see him, I make sure that I try to steal 10, 15 minutes of his time. Just to he has the courage that I think is the essential element, especially in today's game. Because every coach in our era has some, or not every coach, but most coaches had the courage to coach a Detroit Piston team, which Scott and I followed growing up. Everyone couldn't coach Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, Rick Mahorn, Bill Laimbeer. That takes courage. Yeah. Okay. Everyone's talking about they want to coach. Players. Yeah. No, not afraid. You got to have the courage to take Isaiah Thomas off the floor and say, we're going to roll with Vinnie Johnson in the fourth quarter. Okay? You got to have the courage to take Mark Aguirre off the floor and say, we're going to roll with Dennis Rodman, the guy who supposedly is not even an offensive player. See, this takes courage. So these guys, Pat Riley and these guys had the courage to do those things. And that to me is an essential quality. So that's why Udoka to me can't count him out. You can make a case for that team this year.
No,
because there's one thing we know about that team, they're gonna show up to the fight.
Yeah,
Now,
well, I mean, he coached the Celtics one season, got them to the finals. Coached the Rockets last season; they were way better than anyone expected, and I'm excited to see what they do this year. But let's finish this episode with some quick fire questions. I'm gonna hit you guys with the questions, and you just give me the first name that pops into your head. Right? You guys ready?
Okay.
Which team is the most fun to watch?
BJ, I'm gonna let you go first because I know who you're gonna say.
well,
Team, not player. Team.
He is the
team.
Team, exactly. He's the team.
He is the team. I'm going to see something every night that I've never seen before. Hey, I'm mad. This is the only guy that I'm mad at the commercials because it's taking me away from the game. I don't need to see the commercial. I need to see what this guy's doing. The team here is San Antonio, but the player when he is healthy is Ja Morant. Like Ja Morant, because
Grizzlies is my answer. Even Zach Edey and Desmond Bain and Jared. Like, what about you, Scott? Most fun to watch.
Look, I'm gonna say Golden State, man. I just because
see that's a shooter. See that's that's a shooter, Scott. That's not fun.
Exactly.
Scott Perry was playing like Steph Curry.
The survey has the Indiana Pacers at number one, then OKC, then the Nuggets, then the Warriors, then the Celtics.
But Golden State because of the ball movement too, not just the shooting, but they do a nice job of really moving that basketball.
Yeah, when you the one getting all the balls,
Which team has the best home court advantage?
I'm gonna say New York.
The Knicks. Okay, what about you, Scott?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, I can go either way on New York because it's a tremendous advantage being there, but it's also can work against you because everybody comes in there and plays their best game, because they want to show well in New York. Man, that is tough for me. I'm because it's not one that I'm trying to think that where it's the toughest to play. Years ago, I would have told you Utah because we never could win in Utah.
I have to retract my statement, by the way. I have to retract my statement.
He's going to say Denver.
Scott, no. The LA
I was going to say Miami.
The LA Lakers
no, I'm not going to say
have a home court advantage. They still have a home court advantage.
I'm going to say OKC.
Okay.
It's a college crowd. They stand. They're energetic throughout the entire game. It's one of those cities that players quote unquote aren't necessarily looking forward to going to. So that makes it a little more difficult as well. So I'm going to say them, and they do all kind of things for the fans to really engage them. It's the only game in town. So I'm gonna say
there ain't nothing else happening in Oklahoma. The survey said Denver Nuggets, OKC, Boston, New York, Utah, then Sacramento. Which team has the most promising young core? PJ's gonna say San Antonio because Wemby is the core. What about you, Scott?
Well, that one's now it's hard to argue that because Wemby is. When you talk about a young core, you think about numbers of players.
Yeah,
but he may account for 3 or 4 players.
I would say OKC because if anything happens to Wemby, the Spurs are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
but OKC have so many young guys on their team.
I think an honorable mention may be Houston.
Yeah, that's who I was going to say.
They don't want to extend Şengün or Jalen Green. Or give them the extension.
They haven't done that yet.
So we're gonna see what happens with that.
Well, I think what they're doing is saying, okay, go get us in the playoffs this year. Go get us in the playoffs.
I want to know how 60% of people vote for OKC, 20% for Orlando, 10% for Houston, 7% for Spurs. But who the hell are the 3% of people who voted for the Detroit Pistons? That's what I really want to know. in this survey. But which player in the NBA is the most athletic?
The most
Which player?
athletic?
Most athletic player in the NBA.
Man,
The results of the GM survey might surprise you a little bit.
Man, I think of Giannis, but a lot of Giannis is the length that he brings. I mean, he's a good, excellent athlete.
He was second. He was second in voting.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Anthony Edwards.
He was first in voting. But there was two names in the top 5
because he's Anthony combines the vertical, the on floor athleticism, the strength. He's got it all. Yeah, I'm going Anthony Edwards. Who were the other two?
BJ,
I liked
who have you got, and then I'll tell you.
I'm gonna say Anthony Edwards, but Jaylen Brown is the type of athlete.
Yes,
to
yeah,
me.
that's a good
because I like ground athletes.
Mm-hmm.
I love players who can play on the ground and control theirs, because you're on the ground way more than you're in the air. So he is the type of athlete to me that defines that balance, and I'm always looking for when I'm evaluating players. So Jaylen Brown would be one for me. We're talking about depending on where.
Somebody say Ja Morant.
Ja Morant's on the list. There's two names.
Jalen Green probably should be on that list.
Jalen Green got a vote. Bam Adebayo got a vote. Kuminga got a vote. Zion Williamson got a vote. But the number 3 and tied for number 4 on the list as well is Amon and Osar Thompson.
Interesting.
Oh, no, but they're super athletes now.
It's interesting. I haven't seen enough of both of them because of injuries, but you can see the athletic ability.
I remember seeing them in high school. They are super athletic now.
Yes.
Which player in the NBA is the best leader?
The best leader?
Marcus Smart.
That's what you have as Marcus Smart?
I will go to war for Marcus Smart.
The best leader. I'm going to say, that's a funny word, right? Leader, and because, we all talk about it. But in this era, based on what I've seen, because I'm putting together the body of work, Steph Curry to me has handled some. He's gone through some.
He was number 1 in voting.
He's navigated. He's navigated some pretty. He's navigated some pretty, some pretty interesting events. Let's say that have happened.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say Steph Curry.
And he displays leadership both ways. Vocal when he needs to be, and he's not probably the most vocal guy, but his exemplary behavior on and off the court is what leaders and professionals are made of. So I have no problem with that one.
Okay, the list says Steph Curry, Jalen Brunson, LeBron James, Drew Holiday, Nikola Jokic, and Chris Paul. Here's another one for you, though. Which player would you want taking a shot with the game on the line?
With the game on the line?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Kevin Durant.
Katie, what about you, BJ?
Luka.
Give me Jokic.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Give me Jokic.
I can't argue any of those 3.
Yeah,
I can't argue.
The results were Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, Jokic, Damian Lillard, and then DeRozan, Shea, and Kyrie also got votes. Oh, and Jamal Murray got a vote as well. Here's one that we can end on. Which rule regarding the play of the game, the schedule, the draft lottery, playoff format, roster construction, etc., most needs to change?
Which rule needs to change?
Yeah. If you could change one rule, if you could change one rule in the NBA, what rule would you change? And it could be about anything, not just the on-court rules.
I don't like, what I don't like, which disrupts my game, is that instant replay stuff.
You get rid of it.
Just live with the call. Now, I like it in the last
BJ going back to the old school. Exactly.
This is an old hat take.
But why are we like stopping the game for like 2 minutes in the first quarter? Like, I don't need that.
Right.
In the last 4 minutes, okay, I get that. But I don't need every single time something happens, we got to go to a replay. Like, in the last 4 minutes, let's get it right. Let's get it right. But I need, just like players make mistakes, okay, the referees are part of the game. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's okay. But the last 4 minutes, okay, let's get that right.
What about you, Scott?
I'm going to put a little collegiate rule in here. So you know when you get to the bonus, non-shooting fouls.
Mhm.
These are professional athletes. I like to see that go to a 1-and-1 instead of two shot, two free throws.
Oh, they play 1-on-1 for a bucket.
1-and-1. No.
Oh,
Want to
that
make
would
money?
be a good rule.
No. What I'm
Oh.
saying is, you go to the free throw line.
If you missed it,
What they call 1-and-1.
it's
If
a
you miss
rebound.
it, it's a live ball. Let's go
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other
Oh,
end.
no.
You don't
That would
automatically
be-
get two
that
free
would
throws.
be a cool rule. If
Yeah.
they stop
You
playing,
don't
they
say
pick up the ball and
it'll
play
put some
1-on-1.
more.
That would be cool.
It'll put a little pressure on guys going to that line now
Well,
too.
in a shocking answer, the GM said that the rules around roster construction, the apron rules and trade math is too restrictive and should be indexed to teams' markets.
Yeah.
They also-
I'm ending
They
on this.
also
I'm
said,
ending.
they
No,
also
no,
said,
no,
no, because this
no,
one's
no,
even
no.
worse. This one's even worse. They also said there should be fewer games and or fewer back-to-backs.
Okay, I'm
Wow.
ending
So,
it on this. I'm
That shows you how the GM
Yeah.
see the games today.
Yeah,
Gonna
see,
get me-
everybody should listen to Kevin Garnett's
Yep.
podcast. with
Yeah, I
Paul
posted
Pierce.
it. I posted
Did you
it.
posted that?
Yeah, when he was talking about Embiid and not playing back to
and talking about
Yeah.
that's what the job requires. You sign up to play 82 games. That's the job. And I love that. But that's what made Kevin Garnett great, special, man. He just
The standard has to be the standard.
exactly. I
The
love that.
standard
when I
has
saw
to be
that.
the standard. Okay.
And I can't say it quite as colorful as Kevin Garnett said it, but I loved how he did it.
Yeah. Well, there's only one Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the GM survey. There's a lot more
Well-
to it. You guys can search up online if you want to see more. But this is our GMs, Scott and BJ, their takes on it. So I'm excited for this season, boys. I'm very, very excited. BJ and I will be here every day. Scott will be here with us every week, and we're gonna keep it rolling. And hopefully, we going back to back, and we'll all be in Boston next spring. How about that?
Yeah. Well, Mo, if you go back to back, you got to wear a leprechaun suit on here.
Oh hell yeah!
When they exactly.
hell yeah. Come on, man. This year I got to be at the finals. Last year I was here. This year I got to be at the finals. You know what I'm saying? I've got to be there. That ain't even a question no more. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got opening night against the Knicks. And,
That'll be a good ring ceremony.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Mhm.
And we all know BJ says that's the hardest game to win because you're too distracted with, with the banner
Yeah,
going
no,
up and getting the ring. So
yeah.
I'm not going to read too much into that first game of the season. But if Mikal Bridges stays shooting with that hitch in his jump shot, I'm not going to be too mad about that game.
All right, gentlemen. I gotta go.
I can't wait to see Karl-Anthony Towns try and guard Jason Tatum. I can't wait. Let's go. But anyway, I appreciate you, fellas. If you guys enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe. We're here all season long. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts from. And most importantly, until next time, get buckets.